You know the story of Adam and Eve, but you've never heard it like this, because this is the story from Adam's point of view that is so blasphemous the church declared it a heresy and it's banned from the Bible. This secret banned book called the Apocalypse of Adam is written from Adam's point of view as he tells his son about the creation of humanity and the coming flood. But Adam reveals that everything you've read in the Bible is wrong. You see, the books in the Bible, they're written by those who follow and worship God. So of course, they're going to say that God is great. But Adam and Eve, they rebelled against God. The Apocalypse of Adam is the banned book from the point of view of the rebels that the church doesn't want you to know. Why? Because Adam reveals that God is actually the devil and created humanity to be his slaves. But there's a hidden way for humanity to escape. So is God actually the devil? Did he create humanity to be his slaves and earth our prison? And if that's so, is there a way for us to escape? According to the Apocalypse of Adam, he and Eve were divine, powerful beings, more powerful than God. Adam said, "And we resembled the great eternal angels, for we were higher than the God who had created us and the powers with him." To understand this, you have to know that the church banned many books, and these banned books partially form what's known as Gnosticism. And those who followed these secret teachings were a group of heretical Christian rebels known as Gnostics. Gnostic comes from the Greek word for knowledge, so Gnostics are those that know, and they claim to know secret knowledge. Another banned Gnostic book, The Secret Gospel of John, tells us what Adam is talking about. In this secret gospel, it's revealed that the God of the Bible is an evil, satanic being, a false God. The true God is an eternal divine mind, pure thought. And this divine mind begins to structure itself, and it expressed itself through a divine human. The God of the Bible, who is the Lord of the material world rather than divine mind, became enraged at the fact that humanity was higher than him and trapped the perfect divine human into the prison of a material body and threw it into the material world to limit its power and to make it into its slave. In addition to trapping the divine human in a material body and the world of matter, to further limit its power, he split the human in two, into Adam and Eve. Adam said, "Then God, the ruler of the eons and the powers, divided us in wrath, and we served him in fear and slavery. And after these things, we became darkened in our hearts." God places Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden to be his slaves. But the Garden of Eden is nothing like how it's described in the Bible. It's a prison. Referring to the garden created by the dark God and his demonic helpers, the Secret Gospel of John says, "Their food is bitter, their beauty is corrupt, their food is deceit, their trees are ungodliness, their fruit is poison, their promise is death." Now, in the Bible, God places two important trees in the Garden of Eden: the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Adam and Eve are allowed to eat from any tree except for the tree of knowledge. Have you ever found that a bit strange that knowledge should be forbidden? According to the Gnostics, it's because God, who they viewed as evil and satanic, didn't want them to realize they were divine. He already entombed them in a body, imprisoned them in the garden, wiped their memory, and split them in two to keep them from realizing their power and divinity. There are two important trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge is forbidden. The tree of life is not. According to Gnostics, the tree of life is there to further trap humanity by making them primal and animalistic. The tree of life injects them with the artificial spirit or false life. Now, this is the Freudian id, the Jungian shadow, or the reptilian brain. It's instinct, desire, and the three F's: food, fucking, and fighting. It's the primal, animalistic aspect. Here's a brilliant poetic description, which I love, of the so-called tree of life from the Secret Gospel of John. Its root is bitter, its branches are dead, its shadow is hatred, its leaves are deception. The nectar of wickedness is in its blossoms, its fruit is death, its seed is desire. It flowers in darkness. Those who eat from it are denizens of Hades. Darkness is their resting place. So in contrast to this tree, the other tree, the forbidden tree, the tree that God said they must never eat from or they would die, was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And it represents higher thinking, purposeful thought, intuition, insight, conceptualization. It's what the Gnostics called epinoia, and it has to do with the mind, and this is related to the neocortex. What God is trying to do is make humanity more animalistic and deny them the capacity of thought and attaining knowledge, because he wants them to be his slaves, and he knows that if they acquire knowledge and purposeful thinking, they'll be able to become self-aware of their own divinity and become more powerful than him. In the apocalypse of Adam is telling his story to his son Seth. And this is important because the Bible explicitly mentions three sons, Cain, Abel, and Seth. According to the Gnostics, Cain and Abel's father wasn't Adam. Instead, Cain and Abel were born from the rape of Eve by the evil creator God. So it was Seth that was the true son of Adam and Eve. Remember that Adam and Eve were originally one divine being that was split. So Seth, being the offspring of Adam and Eve, symbolically represent the reunion of the divine. In other words, Seth had the united power of divinity hidden within him. And this idea was so important to the Gnostics that those who believed this were called Sethians. The reason it's so important to the Sethian Gnostics is because everyone else is killed in the flood except for the line of Seth, which goes on to populate the entire human race. Symbolically, this means that every single human has the hidden power of divinity within them, that they can become all-powerful and escape the material world. Now, in the Bible, God sends a flood to drown everyone except for Noah and his family, because the rest of the world is sinful while Noah is righteous and obedient. However, Adam tells his son that this is wrong. The real reason God sends a flood is because he's angry that those from the line of Seth refuse to be his slaves and are rebelling. This is because they contain that seed of divinity within, passed down from Adam and Eve through Seth. But God sees that Noah and his family will still serve him. So what God does is he sends down a flood to destroy and drown the entire world, except for Noah and his family and the animals on the ark. But unbeknownst to this evil creator God, divine beings from the higher realms of mind save the descendants of Seth by hiding them in a cloud of light. After this, after the flood is over, God strikes a deal with Noah. God tells Noah that if he agrees to be his slave and to populate the world with those that will be his slaves, he will give the earth to Noah and his descendants and make them great kings and rulers. And God will say to Noah, "Behold, I have protected you in the ark, along with your wife and your sons and their wives and their animals and the birds of heaven. Therefore I will give the earth to you, you and your sons. In kingly fashion you will rule over it, you and your sons. And no seed will come from you of the men who will not stand in my presence in another glory." So Noah agrees to this and tells his sons about this deal he struck with the devil, or God. Then Noah will divide the whole earth among his sons. He will say to them, "My sons, listen to my words. Behold, I have divided the earth among you, but serve him in fear and slavery all the days of your life. Let not your seed depart from the face of God the Almighty." So God confronts Noah, and Noah essentially says, "Hey, I have no idea who these people are. They aren't my kids." According to the Gnostics, this represents the situation that we're in right now. And it's symbolic for Gnostic Christianity versus what would eventually become mainstream Christianity.